Thanks for staying with us. So today we're talking some kind of politics. So last week, the presidential aspirant of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and President Bola Tinubu were seen at the Vatican exchanging pleasantries and kind of hanging out together. Each other, Nigerians, all the Nigerians on social media have recently been creating animosities towards one another, while the leaders, in-laws, friends, associates, and business partners openly share camaraderie and fraternize without restraint. But their followers cannot stand it. What is this nonsense? Of course, the whole thing with the backlash and strong condemnation. What is Peter Obi doing with that man, that evil man? You know? So, because if you remember, the 2023, the build-up to 2023 the general elections is still fresh in our memories. How the election tore apart many relationships, many marriages, led to job losses, created serious bitterness and vile statements from people. Some celebrities are yet to recover due to political leanings. As we count down to 2027, do you think this trend is a creation of our own politicians, or the people created this atmosphere themselves? That's our conversation this morning. You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 020-1635-2013, 090-241-63440. You can also send us your messages on X and also on YouTube. We'll be happy to read your thoughts. So when that picture, hopefully our producers can pull up again. When it was posted, everybody was wondering, hey, what does light have with darkness? You know how the perception of, there's this strong perception that, Peter Obi is this person and the president is this person. And they say, why are they coming together? And people just couldn't stop to say that this was the reality. I was saying something yesterday. I said perception is reality only when reality is untold.
True.
And the truth is that people perceive that they hate each other. Politicians generally don't like each other. I am this party, you are that party, and we must not see eye to eye. So this is an aberration to the viewers, to the Nigerians watching. What are your thoughts on this? When you saw the picture, how did it communicate to you? What do you think?
If Nigerians think that is an aberration, you guys have a long thing coming because their children marry each other.
Tell me about it.
We see them digging it out, during elections, and then a few months after, their sons are marrying their daughters and they're hanging out with each other, or a family member, they lose a family member, and all of them, rally around them and support them. And really, at my age and the experience, of watching many elections come and go, I am very much more aware of how politics works. Yeah. And of course, because of that, I would always be on the side of, decency, understanding that the elections is one thing and then relationships outside this happens. So for me, people who are acting this way, maybe they are really young people who are just coming into, their age, they're 18. I'm hoping that these are really young teenagers, young adults, trying to understand the political atmosphere. And so for them, it means if somebody is from a particular party, he cannot have anything to do with another person. They cannot even exchange pleasantries, But for those of us who are older and we've seen it play out many times over the years, we understand that, it doesn't mean anything. What is important at the end of the day is the ballot, what you cast in the ballot box. That's what's important. What's also important is leading up to any election, you campaign for who it is that you want, or before then you make sure that those who are running for office, you listen to them, make sure that the person that you want is the person that you go and vote for. Yeah. But beyond them, they're also human beings. They're fathers, they're friends. Some of them went to school together. True. They've been friends, some family members actually have joined opposing parties, brothers, sisters, So it's sad that we take these sort of stories and make it much bigger than it is. And for me, it's a lesson. It's a lesson going forward, because to be honest, the last election, there was just so much bad blood and bitterness. We're now even calling our friends and family members because of that. So we need to understand that there has to be a way that we can communicate our differences politically, and also remember that we're first human beings, second Nigerians, all of us, and then thirdly, whatever political party that you belong. Simple.
You see your thoughts on this?
Yes. So this is a natural phenomenon all over the world. People become followers, and over time they segue into becoming mobs. So from followership, I like this person, admire this person, I stand with this person's ideology, then we start fighting any other person who opposes the person that we like. We now start becoming a mob. And it's been like that when it comes to politics, when it comes to entertainment. Let's even take entertainment for instance. We have singers who, you like Wizkid, I like Davido. Those two are their
Different
own
camps.
people doing different things, and then we build opposing camps on their behalf. Wizkid and Davido did not send us to do that. We have taken it upon ourselves because we have become followers, ardent followers, and then we are now moving into becoming mobs that if you speak against my Davido, I finish you. Let's look at football. When you travel during the games, when they are playing all these their club games, and you wear a particular jersey in an area you're not supposed to wear that jersey, God help you that they don't mob you. Yes. The players are playing their game, they are making their money, they are friends after the game, but you have taken it upon yourself to be a mob on their behalf. That's human mentality. Because the typical human mind wants to be led. The typical human mind wants something to follow. The typical human mind wants something to believe in. It's not about perception, it's about this is what I want to believe in, and then we hold on to it because it gives them a sense of purpose. It happens all over the world. It's not new with Nigeria, it's not new with politics. But the problem is, we need to now begin to reorient the mob. And I don't know how we're going to do that because this has been a phenomenon from time of old. Like everybody just wants to find a vision, to find something to hold on to, especially people who are not doing so well with their own personal lives, right? Because if you look at most of the elites, they understand that this is a game. They understand that this is what we do, is business. You can be on a different camp and be, later we have dinner, we have lunch, we talk. I like your son, you like my daughter, and it moves on. The elites have gotten to that point where they understand because they have a purpose. Now, majority of the people we see on the streets who now carry the fight with the bottle on their head is because they have not found their personal purpose. So I don't know how we are going to ever change it. We may keep advocating, like we're talking on television, to understand that this is a game. We during the elections, we were in the same house. Me and my husband had opposing views on the elections. He had who he believed in. I had who I believed in. And we kept arguing and bringing our strong reasons. But do you know that there were some homes that husband and wife were not talking during the election? There were some homes that I heard stories that wives were not cooking for the husband because you decided to go and vote for somebody else. You are not in my camp, you know? And the people who are playing the game understand that it's a game. In politics, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies. It's as the game goes on. So how are we going to tell people now that don't take it personal?
You know, when you're talking, I was just thinking of so many patterns, you know, and you think about, my father had a generation, our fathers had generations. There's the Peter Obi generation, there's the Showore generation, there's the combatant generation that says, you know what, we must fight it out. And I remember that if we look at those in the Kayode Fayemi and they were speaking of the Bekor and some Kutis, my dad and all that, they were speaking against government, right? Now, if we look at them with others who didn't just speak against, try to participate, because now we've seen them as, oh, villains, oh, these ones are the politicians, but many of them were in the same generations. And some of them say, you know what, I'm going to get involved, I'm going to start a political party, I'm going to keep on. Instead of doing the talking, saying, you know what, let us just join the mob and speak, we are the ones against them. They didn't do that. Some went and said, you know, we're going to find a political party, and that's where we see, even today, we are seeing them. The point I'm trying to make is that, do you think what happened is something that, is it a generational issue? The reason why I'm asking is because if it would a Showore be in that situation and greet Tinubu, it's not likely. A Showore would probably go there and not say hello. He'll probably walk past. I think he's not likely to. So the issue is that, is it the person of the Peter Obi he's the kind of person that he's not combatant. His own is that, let me just win the election. This I want to believe in the people. So is he a person, not a generation, sorry. Is it a personality issue? not a generation, I meant personality issue. Peter Obi's personality is different from Ishowore's personality, because I know Ishowore will probably be in that position. He's not likely to greet the president. We've seen also young people. One saw the former president, Buhari, I'm not sure, one of the musicians, just did not refuse to greet him. I can't remember when it was a female musician.
Yeah.
And that she did not kneel down, she did not bow. Something, she didn't greet. Just walked past him. I can't remember what it was. 10 years, just walked right past. So that was the generational part that, okay, maybe it's their own generation. But the truth is that, do you think it's just based on the personality of Peter Obi, he's like, listen, we should be on the different paths, but let me just be civil in this manner. Mike, what do you think? Because I know Showore will not do that.
You see, when something happened, when I was much younger, my father was always in court. It was and in court, the lawyers were battling each other. Government lawyer against my father's lawyer. They would be fighting. Then one day, I now saw them out of court. They were almost kissing each other with love.
You didn't understand it.
See, no?
The lawyers, right?
The lawyers. Two that were against each other.
Just now.
Just now.
Yeah.
Now, in the evening, I'm meeting the two of them at an event and they are almost kissing each other.
Yeah.
I say, wait! So all that one is show.
Yeah, they're just doing their job.
In my own estimation, when the politics is their career, it's their work.
Yeah.
So they are fighting
Themselves.
in their work. But in their private lives, they are friends. So you don't concern anybody. Peter Obi will greet. And you are right. Peter Obi's character is much more
less combatant.
Much less combatant than Showore. I believe that Showore too will not greet. I think you are right. He might not.
He would, he would.
That one is
or he might go there
issue now. It's just about being
scatter the place. And
just
tell
about
Mr. Pope, why are you here with President Tinubu?
Just a rude,
why did you invite him?
Person, yeah.
It's not a rude person. It's a confrontational person. My father would not have. My father would probably have greeted.
And your father is confrontational.
Sure,
There's a difference.
My father, yes,
your father is confrontational.
He would have greeted. He would have greeted him, and then he would have said, "So what you they do for Nigeria? No good."
Bam.
He would have given him some home truths inside that.
Yes, that's confrontational.
No,
There's a difference.
It's not confrontational. He's still giving him idea. Let's work this thing you are doing is not right. Yeah. But he would have been civil, he would have greeted him.
I have to go on a short break, but before then, I have to tell our viewers that we'll be cutting off for the regional workshop on maritime border security, and we'll be linking up to that event right now on the TVC News channel. For those of you watching us on TVC, you can continue watching us online on YouTube, and you can watch us on DSTV, on GoTV and StarTimes. I'm prophesying DSTV very soon for TVC Entertainment, but yeah, definitely you can watch us on GoTV and StarTimes. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're discussing this matter. I would like to bring in our viewers to also join the conversation. I think Miriam was going to say something.
Yes, I was saying that, given having said what I said, first of all, I think there's also another way to look at this. And for me, this is now beyond the mob just screaming and shouting. That there are some people that just ideologically do not agree with some parties or some individuals in some parties. And let me use Waike as an example, and for what her father, and her family have stood. There's some places Waike would never be. She said, it's almost like an affront to the cause that her father has fought, So some people have those strong beliefs and objections. So it's not even about the person, it's just about their cause and their ideology. And they feel that we have different values. What we want for this country is so different, and I cannot be seen to be standing with you in any way. I would like the world to know how much we are so different from each other. So there are people like that. And then for those sort of disagreements, I understand that. But what we're talking about here really is just mob, yes, just the fact that somebody stands with somebody or someone is in the same room as somebody, and there's a huge problem.
But as you said earlier, that there are lessons to be learned, because the truth is that when you see a Peter Obi going for that event and getting an opportunity to be at that close range with the president, what he could be communicating to his followers are, listen, we are united in Nigeria's purpose. I am here because I am a Nigerian. I believe that Nigeria, because that's a common denominator, we are here for Nigeria. I may not agree with his policies, I may not agree with everything he's doing, but I, as a person, I'm here because I'm here in the interest of Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian citizen, and hopefully that can give some succor to the tense agitation that many Nigerians have against different bodies of the ruling party. So the point is that him being there was also crucial for his followers, that this is not a fight. Yes, we're not in agreement. Policy-wise, we're not in agreement, but it doesn't mean that I cannot stand with you. It doesn't mean that you cannot stand with your brother when you go out to parties. I mean, as you said, during the elections, things were so bad. Yeah. Somebody will invite you from a different party, and you'll be wondering, if I go there, it will be seen as anti-party associations. You know, those kind of things. So people are always careful not to go to certain kind of parties, and it was totally and completely unnecessary.
Yeah, in fairness to Peter Obi, he has always made it about Nigeria. The few times he's come out to say things when he saw how the young people were going left, right, and said, no, the few times I've heard his write-up, how the young people are going left, right, and center. He had always stood for this. We are fighting a cause. We're not fighting a people, because we're all the same. I've heard that as much, right? And the truth of the matter is, the people will not still hear because they need something to hold on to. It has always been the way it has always been. There's nothing that can change it. But what we need to now begin to push is for them to go beyond just finding somebody to follow to the ideologies, and to being civil and being respectful. You can't go into a place because you are in disagreement with, I can be in disagreement with YK, and I see YK on the street and I choose not to greet her. That has to do with my personality and not just about the disagreement. I can still greet you, and you know, we have our business together, and I still don't agree with you. So if we can make people to understand that, find a way to separate the two. Our ideology is different. Our relation in being civil to one another is another ballgame entirely.
Let me take this call. We have to pause. I
still kiss you too.
We have to pause this conversation because we have a guest who has a meeting, so we have to go. But let me take this call from Tunde first. Good morning, Tunde. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I disagree to differ a little bit from your opinion this morning. In this country, like I am, I started voting since 1993. The fact that they are claiming to Obasanjo and all that, do not treat it the same way Obi treated this thing. Mr. Peter Obi caused everything that we are facing in this country. And you ask me why? Everybody has divergent opinion. The way you want to govern, the difference from how Ashwaju or Atiku and other person want to be governed. But you don't attack ethnics, you don't use churches,
religious politics,
and
sectional politics.
All those things is there that I can upon is what affecting the ideas and the opinion and divided Nigeria until today. So Peter Obi, I want all these things. I want you to place it clearly so that at least they will know that.
We can't hear you very clearly today. I would have to cut that line off. But I think I hear the point, because I knew during that 2023 elections, there was the religious politics that was played using the churches. There was the sectional and regional politics that was playing, saying our tribe against that tribe. So that happened, and that he was saying he's saying that Peter Obi brought in that element into politics, and that's probably what reason why we are seeing that. That's the opinion, But let's go on a very short break. It's absolutely debatable. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we have to bring in our guests, and then we'll come back to this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we had to take a break on the politics conversation because we had our guests. But just to wrap up on this conversation we're having much earlier, how should Nigerians take it? So as we said, on social media, people were condemning it. Some were saying, see, they're all friends. We're just here killing each other. Others are saying, it doesn't matter. It only shows civility on the part of the leaders. But what do you think? Do you think this is an indication that Nigerians shouldn't try to go through that route they did during the 2023 general elections, where there were various camps. That what this has demonstrated is that behind closed doors, these politicians know each other, respect each other, and probably are friends.
And there's nothing wrong in having camps, right? You cannot follow everybody. You should have people who you believe in their ideology and you want to follow them. That's why it's polarity. We must always have different sides. That's what makes life interesting. However, while you're picking those sides, do not take it personal. It's not really about you. It's about the greater good. And do not get to a point where if you do not see your person win or your person succeed, you resort to doing things to ordinary people who don't even have any business with what is happening. I was, asking myself a question when somebody said during the elections, they said, who are you voting for? I said, why do you want to know? I may get to the poll and change my voice. I was like, I thought you were so group. I said, why? Because of my tribe? Of course not. He doesn't know me. The president does not know me. Nobody has called me to come and give me money. I'm just looking at, okay, in my, yes, I've been struggling and trying to support myself. Nobody has called me specially to say, Auntie, we see your struggle, take this so and so million to sort out yourself. I say it's not personal. I'm just calculating in my head. Does this person have the capacity to lead Nigeria to where I want Nigeria to go to? And that's why I'm going with this person. Does that person have, I'm just doing that calculation. So I'm not taking it personal. And so when the results came and everything, some people were like, no, they did this, it was rigged, it was that, it was that. I said, let us wait and see if the person that has been elected has the capacity to do the work. It's not personal. He's not my father. The other one is not my father. Nobody knows me. So if we can separate ourselves from, getting too attached to what we think is the right thing, because the problem we have is everybody on their own camp or in their own camp believes that they are right. And because you think you're right, you want to oppress and suppress every other person who does not agree with you. We can agree in civility and understanding that two truths can exist at the same time. When I hear all this
camp or no camp, you know what I just think? I think my mother or somebody told me that everybody just looking for what they're going to eat. The reason why we're all gung-ho this person is because of the opportunities you think may come out of it. Truly, Nigeria, we don't have that. I think, not to generalize, many Nigerians don't have that ideological stand to say, okay, this is what I believe in and I'm standing by. Because you see them jumping from one camp to one camp, all the politicians, even the followers are possibly like that. They're also confused because if one politician comes and says, all of us, we're all going to this party, they all carry their bags and go because it's all about what you can eat. So when people are saying they are fighting, I just wonder, like, this one they are fighting for, do you understand? This man that is there, he's only there for his own personal ambition. Everybody has their own personal work, so you must be very careful how you're following and who you're following.
You see, that's the thing. It's orientation. Our orientation is wrong. We have been fed. I can't get over the fact of how tribalistic we are today.
Yeah.
Really
because when I was growing up, there was nothing like that.
Really?
It's the same thing with religion. We had friends in Ansaruddin. Ansaruddin was a Muslim school, and there were Christians there, and nobody was wearing hijab. There was nothing like that. Suddenly, they have now turned it into, what is it?
And it was
why
in Lagos that was like
putting religion and tribe and everything on our head?
That was in Lagos, because I now found that years after that, that experience you're saying is because you live in the cities. And there's some areas or part of the country that is never like that. There's always been those differences, but because we live in the cities, maybe we don't see it.
I disagree. I couldn't actually. I disagree because I grew up in Jos. I didn't grow up in a rural area, but I saw the change. I think while we were growing up, it was when that change started to happen. We lived on a street where there were many Muslims, and we would share food at Christmas or whatever the celebration was, and vice versa. We would go to each other's homes. But then I remember one particular year I came home from school, and my grandma was saying that there was this new group of Muslims who had come into our area and would not take food from us, would not sort of associate with us. So people started talking about that there's a difference, there's a shift. This is not how this is not how it's done in this community. Then also the emergence of Pentecostalism, the Pentecostal churches as well. That one too, on that side, brought about difference where they will say, no, they don't, their Allah is not God. God is different from Allah. So I was just, growing up when I saw the difference.
You are so right, Miriam. When that Pentecostalism came into Nigeria, it was when that was the shift. That I can remember very clearly. Because before it was just going to ordinary church, Methodist or Baptist.
And he was respected.
And everybody, I know this guy, ID. He grew up in the north. Beside him was an Igbo house. The house beside him was a Hausa house. And all the kids went to play. When they got to the Yoruba house, the parents spoke Yoruba to the children. The same.
My mom's first language was Igbo, because
ID is over 70. He speaks the 3 languages. He speaks Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. Because of the way the parents interacted with all these children. When did this thing happen?
So I hear the parts of the Pentecostal movement. There's also the part of enlightenment. Because people started getting more enlightened and educated. Because when we were growing up, it was Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. But other groups were there. They didn't have a voice. You get a house, go and call a kaite for me. You had all these discriminatory things that we did. But guess what? That community were Nigerians, and they needed representation. As enlightenment came in, everybody now wanted an identity. Don't call me Igbo. Don't call me Yoruba. I am Edo. I am this person. I am Ishekiri. Give me an identity.
But aware of those.
I wasn't aware. Maybe I was one of those foolish Nigerians. I was never aware. As a child, it was just Igbo, Yoruba. So I thought it depends on where you are.
Especially if you're a minority, you are definitely aware.
I grew up where I personally was never aware. So also, aside from Pentecostal movement, there was also that movement of identity. Everybody wanted to be recognized.
But why?
Yes, because of it, you now realize that
I think it was politics.
It was politics. I need to understand how it's politics. Please explain.
It was politics. So, first of all, you now started dividing the country into various states, and then you were uplifting some people. So people now realize if dividing the states into the country into different states, and then I see a group of people in that state are elevated at the detriment of all the others. So I need to find something for myself too. So it wasn't as if that people were being, in general, they were not represented. Politics came in such a way that they highlighted some people in the way that it will push them further while putting some people behind. That in itself is what caused the tension. People before had always known that they were different. We spoke different languages. We interacted differently because there was no prize at the end of, if you're from this place, then you get a state. Do you understand? It was the need for, I want representation too. I want that state. I want all the things that come with having a state, which was marred with a lot of corruption. And that is, for me, is what I saw for the need to be represented. Not because at first they didn't see that they were not represented.
Let me take Peter. Good morning, Peter. You're live. Sorry for keeping you.
Hello.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, ladies in the house.
Good morning. Go ahead, please. You're live on TV.
Yeah. I concur with what the lady on black is saying. White power, what they are saying also. They are on point, they are on track. All of you are on track. I want to add my own view about what our president and Peter Obi seeing them together in inauguration of our Pope. It has meant to be so. We all have to realize that those people out there, they are doing their job. Politicians, they are doing their job. They are doing their job. When you see them outside making noise, they are doing as if they are fighting, as if they are doing, having problems with each other. No way. They are not having anything. They're just doing their politics. Like where I come from, I'm an Igbo man. Where I come from, do you know what we used to call this, what they are doing? But I was born in Lagos in Ikeja in number 5.
Back in Thank you very much, Peter. Let's go on a very short. I have to go on a commercial break. When you come back, I'll start with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still having this conversation. Why was going to say something?
Yes, I was going to say something. Another thing that caused this division was the advent of oil. Once the oil came and the money came, the fight started. Because so the politicians, in their greed, whether the politician was a soldier, whether he was a civilian, they're all the same. I put them all in the same basket.
Yeah.
They helped us, and we swallowed everything. You know, because when Oyinbo left us in a way that we will be fighting forever.
Yeah, true.
That is how they made
That
sure.
was the intention.
Yes, that was the intention. So that once we don't have that peace,
They can keep eating
we can never progress. Without peace, we can't progress. Imagine in your house, if you and your husband, God forbid, are fighting, there will be no peace in that house. The children will not be happy.
No progress.
There will not be progress. So that is what is happening in Nigeria. And until we can remove the shackles of this division, we can't go forward. And I pray that
And
we will
in addition to that, and I've always said it, but I think I've said it a few times also, when I came back from the Dubai conference last year, and I heard the Rwandan story. And the truth is that if we all sit down, we're having all these national conferences, which are not really addressing the issues, there's a deep hurt that Nigerians must confront. And must also look their brother in the eye that, yes, we had a war. I am sorry for this, you are sorry for this, have a handshake, where there is that sincerity. Although it was argued that it was done in the past, but the truth is that there are a lot of young people saying that that was not the information they got. What was communicated to a lot of people was that there was never an ownership to the cause of the wars we've had in the past. So I think for us to really move forward, because if we don't tackle it at the nucleus, politicians will continue to use this as a tool for campaign to divide Nigerians. So Nigeria in itself must be very mindful and intentional about saying, Lord, let us remind ourselves that we are one country.
So who is
not by
Nigeria?
saying unity or united we stand. It's not by saying that.
Yeah.
It's about confronting what they did in Rwanda.
Yeah.
The person who raped your daughter,
Yeah.
you go to the person, confront the person, you did this to my child. He then apologizes to you and does everything to retrace their steps. And then you must say, I have forgiven you. And that forgiveness must be, that scenario must be done where you are able to face each other.
Good.
But until you do that, and you are recognized to have been forgiven, you can't move
So
forward.
who is the Nigeria that will do it? Because unfortunately, the politicians who are using this against us because of their personal interests are the ones at the helm of affairs that would call the meeting to start having this conversation. Now, they will not call the meeting to have this conversation because they have their own hidden interests. They know that if we have this peace, we resolve this issue, we will not benefit as much as we are benefiting today. And nobody wants to do that. So if you say Nigeria, it's not me and Marian that will stand up and carry placard and say, oh yeah, come on, who killed your father? Who raped your sister? We don't have the influence to do that. It's going to still take the people at the helm of affairs, the leaders, to decide that we need to tell our story. We need to go back to history. We need to find where we have gone wrong. We need to start making amends. We need to start apologizing to the communities. I want to read that Babangida's book. I don't know how I can get it. Maybe, is it available online?
Of course.
Because he made some
My brother has one.
statements. Please, I would love to read
get
it.
it for you.
He made some statements in the book. If I read it now, I will know the exact things he said. That most of the people were blaming for some of the for the war that happened were not the ones actually responsible for that war. And he explained it there. Now, those people have been aggrieved for a very long time because the blame was put on them just like that. And now somebody's coming out to say that this is a misconception. We can start from there. Somebody has given us history of what has happened. Who is making a move now to say, this has been wrong? Our children have grown up to believe that this was the story. Now we are realizing that this is actually not the story. Who do we start apologizing to? It's not me. It's not Morayo. It's not YK. It's not Miriam. It's the government. So when are they going to be ready to start
is alive. Babangida is still alive. These are people who are part of the war. You see, we need these conversations. I mean, they'll say they've written their books. We should all go and read their books and then go and resolve your problem. But you know, sometimes you need our founding fathers, that they say, to to come out and say, okay, this is the direction we must take as a people. Let me take a call from Wisdom. Wisdom, thanks for calling. You're live.
Wisdom.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Wisdom, I hope you are full of wisdom.
I'm sure he gets that a lot.
Actually, I called because of what you just said. I called. Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I called because of what Mama Kuti said. That's what I've just So she what she said was really on point. Actually, like yesterday, I was coming back from work and I kind of like I was in the midst of friends, so they were just talking. You see that this recent Vatican picture or whatever P2D and it's kind of like causing serious reaction even on the street. People were kind of like beginning to hate Obi and what is he doing with this kind of person? But you see, the thing is, the fault is not really from any of them though. What me I'll say is we should just kick off this negative mindset that we keep having about these politicians and try to follow what our lady here said, that until we can we can wipe out all these challenges that we're having about religion and tribe and whatever, that's the only time we can have peace. He said the white people left us or according to what she said, that they didn't leave us in peace, and I think that's where the fault line has been. That's where the problem has been coming from us, but that's the only thing I see. We can't move forward until we come together, and I pray God will bring us together and we'll see the future together.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wisdom.
Thank you.
I was just
very wise.
Because it's those on healed wounds that politicians are still using as tools.
Yeah, that's true. And but the thing is, one conversation would not do it, and it's not enough. As I hear in Rwanda, they sort of have like monuments that you can visit, to sort of remind you. So for us, just the conversation is not on summits and conferences. That isn't enough. First of all, in our curriculum in schools, you have to start putting that in our history curriculum. Let our children read about how Nigeria came to be. What were the wounds that were caused each other, and how have we moved forward to heal each other? Those are the things that we need to do so that you remind generation after generation, because you can't do it just by one conference. The next generation will have to read about it somewhat. So if you put that in your schools, then when you do your videos and all these things, put that as well. Let that be the story that you tell. Then you will shape a mindset. What we see with America, every time I, just watch some of their story and their history, they've come from a very long place. The America you see today is not because it's very sure of what happened during slavery. It's just the stories that they've told them. The white women that we were talking about the other day, that they were saying they brought sanitation to Africa with colonialism, is what they read in their schools. It's what they had been teaching them. So that is the only way. Our schooling, our creativity, our TV, what are we showing our children? How are we teaching them? Then it will become something that will hold on for the rest of our life. It becomes our culture. It becomes our mindset.
Interestingly, talking about American history, I was watching some documentaries recently, and I was shocked to find that, and even in the United States, they had concentration camps for Japanese Americans when they came back. I mean, they were during the World War II. They actually had camps where they said, because they had issues with Japan, and they were worried about their alignments with either Russia or I think Germany. So they came back, and this America of A that we all look at, they actually were very the atrocities they caused, and even with the nuclear bomb they dumped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it was, and afterwards you're wondering, they came back even with regret that it was not necessary. It was almost as we killed a cockroach with the sledgehammer. So these mistakes will happen. We must document it, and we must face that we did this to these people because this. However, we are retracing our steps, and whatever we need to do to get it back, to make it right with you, we must be willing to do it intentionally. Because if we don't face those realities, we will never move forward. Some clown will wake up tomorrow and say he wants to be governor, and he says, all those people, throw them in the sea. All those people, put them in the ocean. But they come up with this because we have not faced our issues.
And America has done a good job of wiping people's memory of what has happened.
Simple.
when I read about the Black American community just after slavery or freedom from slavery, that they had created a community where they were making money.
Was it Ohio or somewhere like that?
I think they said the park, the New York park, was it Times Square or something?
Yeah, Times Square.
Used to be a huge Black American community. They were making money, and they just
wiped them out.
Yeah, flooded the whole place. I think they, first of all, it was arson, and then they flooded the whole place. And for many generations, they didn't know that story. It's something that some of them are discovering now. So you see the importance of writing things down and speaking to your children after children.
So let's go a short break.
Because it's very easy to forget. After 3 generations, you forget what has happened.
We'll come back after this break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us.
So I like how we have used other countries to buttress our examples. Rwanda is there. We talked about, Miriam just talked about America and how they were able to erase. And it's not just America, even our own colonial masters, the British. People are beginning to unearth some of the things that they did here that was erased. Many of their people, we took last week 2 funny presenters were talking about how they brought education and sanitation, blah, 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 to Africa, and we talked about it. Those were the sort of things that they had intentionally put in their own history that made them believe that this is what their people have done. So the difference between those countries and we now is intentionality. We need to, first of all, know what we want to achieve. What is the goal of this country? What is the vision for this country? How do we want to tell our stories? If we don't have, if the government of the day does not have an intention on where they want Nigeria to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, in the next 20 years, our children will sit down and still be having this conversation because there's no trajectory, there's no roadmap to where we are going to. The difference between us and those countries is that for a very long time, they knew what they had in mind. They knew how they wanted to rip off the world and how they wanted to change the story so that they are not held accountable for their actions. We pray and we say, their forefathers, we see all their own forefathers and ancestors as good people, and all our own ancestors and forefathers are the evil ones that kill twins. And
our village people.
Our village people, that's the story that they have given to us, and we are helping them further push that narrative. Now we need to sit back and ask ourselves, where are we going as a nation? How do we want to tell our stories? How do we want to tell our truth? How do we start telling the truth? Where will it get us to in the next 5, 10, 20 years? We need a team of people in the government to begin to think forward, futuristic thinking. That's what we need. Or else, like I said, next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we're still asking ourselves, let's sit down now. Let's have this conversation now. Let's apologize to one another, because there is no direction on where we're going to. It has to be clear.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because our government is not really in a continuum, every administration comes, they do their bit. Another administration comes, they want to scatter. Because there is no roadmap to the collective good of the people, we will keep having this.
Obiajulu, there cannot be a collective roadmap, because for there to be a collective roadmap, our eye will have cleared. And since our eye is not clearing and it's not showing signs, because let me tell you something. I was watching this guy's show yesterday, and Agbakoba, what's his name, was talking about how we don't progress. We're not thinking progressively. Look, we have mineral resources in this country. Do you know that we don't need a Ibora at all?
We don't, sir.
We don't. If we decide, let us look. Because he was talking about how Dubai, 25 years ago, we were borrowing their money. Now we are the ones going there, and running there, and see the development.
See Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore. See what he's doing with their gold. Did you see the gold mines? They don't have the machines. They don't even need these foreign machines. These guys are they shovel from the groundless part. You shovel up. Next person shovels up. Next person shovels up. Oh, they don't even need the foreign machines.
It's one man now.
They are doing it. This is just one man with a vision. That's it. So that drastic measure is like, you know what, France, we are cutting you off. The whole ECOWAS would have thought you will leave ECOWAS. Do you know what ECOWAS is? He says, I'm out because is that decisive action?
Do you know what does
no,
it
it's
mean?
a coalition of
They
West
made
Africa.
ECOWAS to be. That's the question. Do you know what they made ECOWAS to be? It's about perception.
ECOWAS is not what Nkrumah wanted it to be.
It's not it.
So the point I'm trying to make actually is that for Nigeria to move
ceremonial
forward
body
is
at
that
this point.
decisive
Yes.
action
Yeah.
of leadership,
Yes.
where we are intentional about seeing how we can unearth the hurts, face it, discuss it, acknowledge it, then restitute. After which, people can now do, I am part of this union. There are groups that don't feel they are part of this union.
Yeah.
They're just here, sha. So people must feel that we are part of this union. Until we do that, when any politician comes from somebody in the minority state that comes and is a leader, we see him first as a Nigerian.
Before
not from a
his
minority.
tribe.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a Nigerian, wants to lead us. We're not worried about who has the majority. No. He's smart, he's competent, he's feisty, he's the kind of person that we need. We put him on. We don't care because we faced our differences.
To ask if then what some people have been saying about indigene or indigenous, we should stop that.
Yes. I've
Where you
advocated
come
it.
from in Nigeria should not matter.
Yes.
Where you have stayed and lived for a minimum of 10 to 15 years, that should matter.
Yeah.
What do you
Let me
think
see,
about
what
that?
do I say? Let me try to say that. As much as I get that, but we don't want to erode the history of the people either. Because even though I believe that, yes, I might have moved into the north, I live here, and now I am now a northerner. But there is the indigenes who still also retain their history.
Yeah.
So anybody I come in there understanding, because I'm pledging allegiance to that history. If you come to the United States, once you now become an American citizen, they give you pledge allegiance to who we are. You can't say, oh, because we are Africans, we walk around with this, with nakedness, I'm going to be walking around naked. You can walk around naked in your country, but in this country, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
You are pledging allegiance to who they are. So if you're coming to the northern state, you don't come there with your long hair into anywhere, because you know that you have to cover your hair. That is how we do things here.
Yeah.
So in being, yes, I can become an indigene, but I must not do that without recognizing that there is
the
a
originals.
history.
Yeah.
There is a history which I must acknowledge and I can accept.
Yeah.
That's my own position on that
Yeah.
situation. Why
So that we don't lose that history.
You've made me lose my train of thought. And it
Sorry,
was very
I'm trying to respond to that because that debate was ongoing during that
Yeah.
election period and all that.
Yes.
So we have to wrap up. We've said quite a bit today.
Yeah.
But I think in a nutshell, going back to the origin of this conversation is Peter Obi and the president coming together to say hello at the Vatican, sent quite a bit of mixed feelings, mixed reactions to Nigerians. And we're just discussing how should we react to that. And that led us to various conversations on how politics and religions was used in the last general elections. And we now said, what caused it? And we went from Pentecostalism, we went from enlightenment, we went from politics, we went to different things that could have actually caused the issues of the differences. And we're saying that for us as a nation to move forward, we need to face the issues we've had in the past, confront it, and then rebirth the new Nigeria we all desire. I think that's all we can take on today's show.
Amazing.
Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
I wanted
Bye for
to
now.
say something.
Have you remembered
I have
now?
said everything that can be said. Right?
No, I was just going to talk about the suit.
Which suit?
All the TV stations were praying, oh, the president was wearing a suit. The president, me, I don't like the suit.
Which I wish you were.
He was too, he blended with his body too much.
Yes, it's
blended.
Don't wear the
He
African.
always wears agbada,
Yes,
but
he always
wears.
That's what I like.
Yeah,
that.
that's what I like
Yeah.
about it. We must
But
have our identity.
somebody advised him to wear suits.
Wear suits.
Like, who is that
And
person?
most of the TV stations
Please
were
sack
saying,
the person.
oh, he was
That
wearing
person
suits.
that
He was wearing
told
suits.
him
Please
to
don't
wear
wear
suits.
suits.
Next time, please.
Dress like yourself.
But
Mr. President, there are many things our Nigerian designers are doing for men now in the fashion industry. So I would like to see you in some of those Nigerians.
Yes.
Please, sir.
What? It doesn't have to be agbada. It can be full.
No, please.
Please,
We
can we
must
end this
show
show?
them.
Don't wear suit again, sir.
We love you, sir. Don't wear.
me, actually, don't mind them. The suit, maybe if you have tried a grey suit, maybe.
No,
but that
no,
black suit just
sir,
blended.
we need our
president.
Nigeria. We need to push our Nigerian identity
Yeah.
and say you are our biggest ambassador.
Yes,
and that's
wear
what
our
I'd like to
agbada.
see.
Okay, traditional
no problem.
outfit.
That is all after the fashion advice to Mr. President. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.